Hello everyone. Welcome to the Belmont Journal, Belmont's own local program for hyperlocal news and community affairs programming. I'm your host, Roger Colton. As we move into warm weather, yard sales are beginning to sprout around town. It's important for residents to remember that a free online permit is required for all yard sales. Questions should be directed to the town clerk's office at 617-993-2600. Since the Federal Communications Commission is considering a rule change that could wipe out all funding, not only for the Belmont Media Center, but for hundreds of community television stations around the country, we'd like to thank U.S. Senator Ed Markey, who spoke against this rule change at a recent Senate oversight hearing on the FCC. Here's a part of what Senator Markey said.
Finally, the public educational and governmental television, also known as PEG or Cable Access TV, offers critical coverage of local government proceedings, cultural events, and community meetings. These stations are invaluable platforms for local voices in an era of media globalization and consolidation. But the FCC has proposed a change to current rules governing franchise agreements that would allow cable companies to shirk their obligations to the communities where they operate. The proposal would allow cable companies to avoid paying some franchise fees to local cities and towns. That would imperil PEG channels across the country. Again, Commissioner Rosenworcel, why is it critical that PEG channels continue to have the resources they need to serve their communities?
There are thousands of PEG channels in communities across this country. They cover the high school football games, they cover City Hall, they provide people with truly local information. I don't think the FCC's franchise fees proceeding should bring all of those stations and all of that coverage to an end.
Commissioner Starks, could you comment upon the need to ensure that we continue robust funding for the local PEG channels? Every single city and town in America has it and is greatly reliant upon the information that is provided.
Yes, these PEG channels we know also are some of the on the vanguard when there are national emergencies. They are often relied upon in that context. I think it's important that these PEG channels continue to have the funding that they need in order to survive and go to the very touchstone of our broadcast rules, which is for localism.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I know that when the big TV stations go away, the only thing that's left in many communities is just that local cable access channel, so the people who live in that one small community can continue to watch the big issue developing in their local area. And if this gets diminished, it's just the loss of a great resource for communities across the country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Markey.
The Brendan Grant Foundation held its 18th and final home run event this past Sunday. We had the opportunity to sit down with Casey Grant, the father of Brendan Grant and the head of the foundation, to talk about what the foundation is and what it seeks to accomplish.
Today we're celebrating the final installment, the 18th and final year of Brendan's Home Run 5K race and walk, which has been a Belmont tradition since 2002 when we first held it. On June 27th in 2001, my son Brendan Grant was playing baseball on the high school varsity field and had a collision with another player. It was a fatal collision, and in 30 minutes our life really changed dramatically. Not just for me and my family, but for our community, for all the young people that were directly involved. And it really impacted a lot of people. We've done great things since then with the Brendan Grant Foundation in his honor, where we have gone out, we were able to rename the baseball field, raise funds through events like Brendan's Home Run, but we do a baseball tournament, we do a golf tournament, we do the wrestling tournament, we used to do a ski race up in New Hampshire, and all of these events celebrating parent-child relationships and furthering the cause, and we've been able to provide 44 scholarships to graduating high school seniors. Brendan's Home Run is comprised of actually 3 separate events. The main event is the 5K run. And we're very proud of the people that show up for this race today. We have some of the most gifted local New England area runners show up for our event. And these people that participate in our elite class, they have won marathons, they set national records, they've been in Olympic time trials, and so again, we have gifted people showing up, and it's great to watch it here in Belmont. If I had one thing to tell the Belmont community, I would just tell them that we've been able to accomplish so much good out of something that seemingly was not good. And that's a true lesson for all of us, as we've been able to turn the tide of something that was very tragic and turn it into all these good things that we've done. We're very proud of what we've been able to accomplish as the foundation and with Brendan's Home Run. Even though this is the last race for Brendan's Home Run, as we hang up our cleats on this one particular intensive activity. On the other hand, we, the foundation, are continuing our mission and our worthy cause, and we plan to be around for as long as we will be around.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to This Week in the Belmont Citizen-Herald. I have with me today JoannaTzouvelis, who is the multimedia journalist for the Citizen-Herald and for Wicked Local Belmont. Joanna, the construction on the new middle and high school has begun.
It has.
And everybody knows that the entrance to the new school is going to change. It's going to be at Godin in Concord.
So instead of just being an exit like it is now onto Concord Avenue, it's going to be an entrance and an exit at the intersection of Godin and Concord.
And the town's traffic working group has really been working hard, and they've come to some at least tentative conclusions on what to do to make sure that people are safe on the streets.
Safety is the primary goal. So what they did is they hired a traffic consultant. It's actually the town's traffic consultant, BSC Group, who did a study on this four-school neighborhood. It's the four-school neighborhood: Burbank, Wellington, Belmont, and
Belmont High.
And Chenery, yes.
And the Chenery.
All the streets that surround it, which are Godin and School and Orchard and Cottage, all those streets. This traffic consultant studied that, and then he came up with recommendations of how to make it safer for pedestrians and bicyclists, how to mitigate cut-through traffic, because there is a lot of cut-through traffic, especially on Godin, and how to calm the existing traffic.
Let's go through some of those recommendations.
Yes.
One of the things they're trying to do is to make it safer for pedestrians and bicycles, both. How are they going to do that?
Well, one way is, you know how a lot of the sidewalks the tree roots are uplifting the cement? It's very unsafe for pedestrians. So they're going to reconstruct a lot of those sidewalks on those walking routes to those four schools.
Because people can just trip on those sidewalks.
Very,
the
very
sidewalks
dangerous.
are dangerous.
Yes.
Okay.
That's one thing, and they're also going to reconstruct a lot of the curb bump outs at these intersections to make them safer for pedestrians as well.
And let's explain for a minute what a bump out is. A bump out is where there is a construction that sort of sticks out into the street, so it narrows the distance somebody needs to walk to cross the street.
Yeah, and it's like a buffer between walkers and cars.
Okay.
And they want to add grass buffers and what they call vertical curbing.
Okay.
Not exactly sure what that is, but it's definitely going to make it safer for walkers and bikers. And the other thing they're going to do is they're adding a traffic light at the intersection of Godin and Concord. That's huge. There's going to do a lot of turn restrictions. There's between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. and between 2 p.m. and I think 6 p.m. Those are the busiest times. They're going to have turn restrictions during those really busy times at particular locations.
Seems like one of the things that the town is rightfully always trying to do is simply to slow traffic down.
That's right.
Have they made proposals to do that?
Yes, that's what they're trying to do. They're going to have speed tables and speed feedback signs at a lot of these intersections: Orchard and Godin, Godin and School, and I forget what the other one is. But these are the Orchard and Godin, Godin and Orchard, and School and Godin. Those are the three intersections that they're going to add speed tables and speed feedback signs to. They also want to put a bike lane on Godin Street.
Godin Street.
That will be shared with motorists.
And it will be a marked bike
Yes,
bike
marked
lane.
with yellow lines.
With yellow lines or
Yes.
yellow paint?
Yellow paint.
Okay.
Now, a lot of residents, particularly residents on School Street, are very concerned about how traffic is going to be worse. One resident believes that 4,000 cars travel up and down Godin every day, and she's concerned that it might even increase to 7,000 cars a day. Now, we don't know if that's true or not, but these are just
Okay, and let's make it clear to our viewers, these aren't a done deal. These are recommendations
Exactly.
that have been presented.
Right.
The Traffic Advisory Committee will
Yes.
meet and vote on those, and the Select
Ultimately,
Board.
the Select Board have to make the final decision. And Glenn Clancy, Director of Community Development, wants to implement some of these changes in the summer. They actually want to do some trial runs. They're even making part of Godin one way. They want to try that and see how that works. Godin between Orchard and School.
So the bottom line is that we should expect changes in the 4 school neighborhoods.
Yes. Do we have
Yes.
time for one more piece of big news?
We do not.
Ah!
We've been speaking with JoannaTzouvelis, who is the multimedia journalist for the Belmont Citizen-Herald. Welcome to This Week in the Belmontonian. I have with me today Franklin Tucker, who is the editor and publisher of the Belmontonian, Belmont's online source for hyperlocal news. Franklin, the activities and decisions on the ice rink seem to be moving fast and furious.
That's right. What we found out is that on Tuesday, the last school committee meeting of the school year, the school committee voted and accepted guidelines that they would like to see in the RFP, which is a request for a proposal that will go out to bid. So now it's going to be 2 months where the Office of Community Development will develop a specialized RFP for the rink, for the new rink.
And you say it's a specialized because there is a private developer involved with
That's
this.
right. It's a private developer. It's a public-private partnership. So there's going to have to be a vote of town meeting. And that's what's going to cause this fast and furious aspect of this project. First, I'd like to talk a little bit about the guidelines.
Yes.
First thing we're going to find out is that there's going to actually be a traffic study because they really don't know where to put the entrance and exit of this new rink. So they're going to have to do a study, and they're going to have to find out where they're going to put the 70 to 90 parking spaces there. Now, the interesting thing about the parking is that it's associated with the parking for the new middle school and high school. So, it will be related in some way to the high school project. So that's an interesting aspect. Now, they decided, and the school committee decided that it will be 1.5 sheets of ice. They'll try to minimize the footprint. They'll allow for the 3 playing fields to be there. There'll be locker rooms for Harris Field, both inside and outside.
Because the White Field House is being eliminated.
That's
so
right. It's
those
going to be
have
demolished
replaced.
sometime soon. There will be ice time that will be reserved for the high school teams, all the teams, girls and boys, and they must show.
Can I interrupt there for a minute? And there will be a particular time during hockey season?
That's right. The league that they're in, the Middlesex League, plays on certain days. So the contract will say certain days they'll be allowed to play.
Okay.
And then there's going to be an oversight committee. That's interesting because there'll be an oversight committee that will last the entire lease, the 30-year lease, just to make sure everything is going to plan. So that's interesting.
And my understanding is that as part of the RFP, the bidder has to demonstrate a financial viability.
That's right. That group will have to show that they can pay off their loans basically by the amount of activity they're going to have at the rink. Now, of course, the town would like to have specific times that the rink is going to be quiet. No one wants to have hockey at 2 a.m.
Yes.
So there will be some negotiation, something in the RFP that will say, we'll try to limit it to as much as you can do.
And then do these guidelines address the non ice-related activities.
The rec department does have a say what's going to be going in some of the activities, but they will have to. That's another part of the negotiation of the lease.
Let's talk about the timeline for a minute, because it really seems amazing.
This is very fast, very unusual to have a major project. Well, this is a sort of a major project in town to go so quickly. But what has to be done is everything has to be done front-loaded, because this project has to come before town meeting, the special town meeting, which is November 13th. So
Everything has to happen before that.
The day after Labor Day, the school committee has to put their edits into the RFP. Then there's going to be 2 public meetings, one after the other, on the 10th and 17th of September. Then, it's just going to be the proposals will go out. There'll be 5 weeks where bids will come in. And it literally is 1 week after the other, major decisions will have to be made, so that a contract is awarded by November 26th. And it's just amazing that you're going to do all this in such a such a constraint.
Is there a danger in there?
Well, you're always, the faster you do something, it's always something that may slip through, or you may be going so quickly that you're not getting the number of bids. I mean, you would like to have a long bid period. 6 weeks is the minimum you really want to have. We're only going to have 5. But we know that there are at least one group that is really eager to bid on this.
That's great. Well, thanks for bringing us up to date.
Thank you.
We've been speaking with Franklin Tucker, the editor and publisher of the Belmontonian. Here's the Belmont Media Center's Jane Peters to tell us about all there is to do in Belmont in the coming week on Community Calendar.
Hi everyone, I'm Jane, and this is your community calendar for next week. Many kids write average or even bad college essays. Tales better than life lessons learned from football or how my trip to Europe broadened my cultural horizons are there for the writing. CollegeWise will show you what admissions officers really look for in great college essays in their workshop at the library on Monday at 7. The Beach Street Center's Nutrition and Health Lecture Series continues on Tuesday at 1:15. Dr. Dan Wu will present Feeding Your Immune System, all about how you can eat to boost your immune system and keep it strong. Honoring the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 landing on the moon, all ages can reserve time to experience the Traveling Planetarium at the Beach Street Center on Tuesday between 2:30 and 5. Additional activities will take place at the library to commemorate the 50th anniversary, including lunar virtual reality experiences provided by BMC. Fireflies are a natural joy of summer. Learn about them indoors and search for them outside around the Habitat Wildlife Sanctuary on Tuesday from 8:15 to 9:45 p.m. This family program is recommended for children's ages 5 and up. Register by visiting massautobahn.org. Visit Belmont Books this week for any of these author talks. On Tuesday, you can attend the book launch of Amy Joan Peckett's 2 Truths and a Lie, sharing crazy true stories about the natural world. On Wednesday, Lisa Duffy will be speaking about her book, This Is Home, centering on the unlikely friendship between a teenager and military wife. And on Thursday, 4 local mothers and authors speak on their experiences as mothers who write. Learn more at belmontbooks.com. And the Payson Park Music Festival continues next week with Belmont native Cheryl Arena Band. The concert begins at 6:45 in the park. You can see a full lineup of bands at ppmf.org. And that's all for next week. If you'd like your event featured in Belmont Journal's community calendar, you can send your event info to Jane at belmontmedia.org.
Summertime has started for all Belmont students now. For the 8th graders, the last day in school gave them a particular time to celebrate their middle school achievements. Here are the highlights of that ceremony. You can watch the entire ceremony on the Belmont Media Center's television stations, or you can stream it online at belmontmedia.org.
I've enjoyed watching you grow, laugh, learn, and mature. And thank you for being who you are. And whatever happens after you leave here after 1 hour, remain who you are. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm gonna miss you. You're my favorites. So our first student speaker is from Teammate 1. I'd like to honor Mr. Alvin Liu.
Whether we realize it or not, our experience here has shaped a large part of our character. We've developed our own moral code, distinguished right from wrong, and laid down the foundation for our future.
Chinnery's motto is respectful, responsible, and ready to learn. everybody, every day. Today we'll give out 9 awards, 3 from each team, representing the 3 R's: respectful, responsible, and ready to learn. From teammate 1, for consistently being respectful, Christopher Bogue. For teammate 2, Sophie McDevitt. And for teammate 3, Mr. Weldon Smith. We're gonna have our next student speakers from teammate 2, Miss Angela Kim and Miss Anya Chin.
Band taught us that we're not always going to have the melody. In fact, most of the time we won't. But we should use just as much of our effort to play the background parts as when we play the melody line. We should listen, think, and let those with the melody shine through.
Be constantly searching for something else, because there is more. There is always something else, something maybe not apparent or right in front of you. Go and look for it.
All right, next for our Responsible Award. For teammate 1, Maima Giake. For teammate 2, Asaf Dos Santos. And for teammate 3, Gianna Burgess. The student speaker for team 8-3, Miss Molly Plunkett.
I honestly think our middle school experience is best described as a roller coaster. We've had some great highs, like trips to DC and Canby Lake Park, and some lows, like the infamous Ferry Beach trip, which at the time we all thought was the worst possible thing that could occur in middle school. But sadly it wasn't. Last year we lost our beautiful, smart, and all-around kind person, Maddie Knight. When Maddie passed, everyone was devastated. There are no words to describe our grief at her loss. And yet, knowing Maddie, as we knew her, she would want us to keep going, to keep doing good in this world of ours. And so, she'll always be a part of the class of 2023. As we go on to the next 4 years of our lives, we will carry Maddie with us. Who she was shines through us every day. We are positive in the face of adversity. We are perseverant. We are talented. And most importantly, we look out for each other. We will face many more challenges, but I know with these traits, we will guide us through a great 4 years of high school.
All right, next, our last 3 awards are the Ready to Learn Award. For teammate 1, for being consistently ready to learn, we have Bridget Gray. For teammate 2, Clara Bagwadi. And finally for teammate 3, Stella Lesnick.
Respectful, responsible, and ready aren't just generic things. They're necessary parts in all of life. They're not just required on your best days, but especially on your worst days. And they're not just needed by some of you, they're needed by all of us. By everybody, every day, and everywhere.
Last Saturday, the Belmont High School Car Club organized its second exotic car show on the Belmont High School parking lot. Gilchrist and Boyan and Lucas Shanakostas were there and bring us the story.
So you guys organized this entire event. What made you want to do this?
Last year we actually decided to do a show for Toys for Tots. We kind of thought of it one day because we know some other in Connecticut they host a huge one, and we figured why not try that out at our own school. So we basically just got that together, got some people together to help us do that. Nick and I are big on in the car scene on Instagram, so we promoted the show there, and we essentially just got people to come via posters and just advertising that way. And we ended up, I think it was $307, right? $307 in cash, and we 4 big Toys for Tots boxes. So it was a really great turnout. It was in November though, so we weren't actually expecting that much, but we did get a pretty good amount of donations and all that. So yeah, we figured why not just do a second one in collaboration with Dana-Farber, because that's another big organization and it's for a great cause. So we figured why not do that.
Yeah, and also part of the reason we chose Dana-Farber is that we lost our classmate Cleo, who was a junior at Belmont High School this year. And the field hockey team had been doing a fundraiser for Dana-Farber and their cancer research organization, so we thought that we would help them out and use our passion for cars to be able to raise money for a great cause.
Well, that's it for this week's edition of the Belmont Journal. As we sign off, let's take a look at what else is available on the Belmont Media Center's community television programming channels. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Roger Colton, and I will see you again next week.